Well, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Pivot to Prosper virtual event today. My name is Alfred Record. I am the founder of Empower DFW and DFW right here in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. For everybody that's watching, we're totally excited and glad to have you on today. I know there's going to be some more people joining here in the next few minutes, but we have an awesome lineup of panelists, speakers today that's going to share with you some of the struggles that they went through with their business when they first started their business and how they pivoted in the last maybe year, 2 years, especially since the pandemic hit and COVID-19 and just some of the different challenges that they faced. So it's going to be an awesome discussion. If you're on and you just want to go grab a snack, maybe go grab a drink or anything, this is going to be really informal, just really just kind of hanging out. And we actually did this virtually today because we originally had scheduled an in-person meeting or event. We were going to actually do a happy hour, but due to the COVID numbers rising, we decided to keep it safe and just do virtual for this particular one until we can get back in person, hopefully in the next 2 months. So, welcome everyone. For those of you who do not know about Empower DFW, it is a nonprofit organization that I founded about 5 years ago. And it basically was just a vision of mine to get it started for entrepreneurs who basically who were at first full time employees, but had this passion and had this drive to want to actually go in and say, hey, I want to make this side hustle into a full time thing. I'm tired of working for someone else. I have this baby inside of me that I want to birth, and I want to go ahead and make it into a full time thing. That was the story of my life. I started out teaching seventh grade math, went to college, ended up teaching seventh grade math, and started doing taxes on the side as a side hustle. And so then the side hustle, after about 3 or 4 years, was making as much money as the full time gig. So I said, well, how can I make the side hustle into a full time business? And I just started to get more and more clients, built me a team, and next thing you know, I was able to leave teaching. I didn't retire. I only taught about 4 years, but I actually was able to leave teaching and do my business full time. And so that's how Empower DFW was birthed because I wanted to help to show more people how to do that. Some of the business principles that you need to keep in mind, some of the things you need to have in place. How do you form your business? How do you do social media? When I first started, social media wasn't really a big thing. And now it's like you almost have to have social media. And I keep social media just because of my business. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be on social media personally because I'm more of an introverted person. So we are just excited to have these fantastic women on today, especially in honor of Women's History Month, which is so important. And so we have an all women panel today, and we have a great woman moderator that's going to actually be leading the discussion. So I'm going to stop talking because I've been told that I talk too much, and I'm going to move out of the way and let these awesome women take over. Our moderator for this evening for today's event is attorney Candice Patrick. And let me let you know a little bit more about Candice. Candice actually received her JD from Northern Illinois University College of Law, where she graduated magna cum laude. That means she's smart, smarter than me. She also went on to be accepted into both the Texas bar and federal court. Since being admitted to the bar, Candice has served in the community with legal representation in business, criminal, family, and civil law. She has been featured in the Voyage Dallas and as a rising star and has contributed to the success and victory of many families. In her spare time, Candice enjoys traveling, yoga, and spending time with her family and in her garden. So I present to everyone that's watching today, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Present to you our moderator for the evening, Candice Patrick. Go take it away. Thank you.
Hi, beautiful people. Thanks, Alfred. That was a wonderful introduction. Hi, lovely ladies. It's so awesome to be here with you tonight. How are all of you all doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, like Alfred said, I am an attorney. Most of my clientele are business owners like you, beautiful women. So we thought it would be a good idea for me to host this event and get some questions going, and we can just flow with each other tonight and really see, how you all can provide value to people who maybe are thinking about becoming business owners or people who are already in business, but they want to know how can they take their business to the next level. So first, what I would like to do is just have each and every one of you go around and just briefly introduce yourself and the name of your business and what it is that you do. And we can start with you, Miss Courtney.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Courtney Morales. I am a wedding photographer and flora preservationist. I've got my business names up here for you: Courtney Lynn Photography and Flora Creek Place. I've been in business as a photographer for a little over 5 years now, and I just started my flora preservation business in 2021. I'm really excited to talk to all of you and for this night, and the excitement's going to happen.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, Courtney. How long have you been in business, Courtney?
The photography business has been about 5 years, and then I started the flora preservation business May 10th of last year. So I'm about to hit my 1 year anniversary for that.
Awesome, beautiful. Chauncey, can you introduce yourself next?
Yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Chauncey Pham. I'm a Dallas-Fort Worth realtor. I run Family Realty Group, which is a retail real estate team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I also run a large national real estate team. We've coined ourselves as the Money Badgers with eXp Realty. We have over 330 agents across 32 different states. And then I run an investment company, a fix and flip investment company with my husband, which is Family Capital Partners. And we're currently flipping anywhere from 18 to 22 homes per year here in the Dallas-Fort Worth and East Texas areas. And so that's primarily what we focus on, is the retail real estate side. I am a coach, a trainer, and a mentor for retail real estate agents. And then we have the fix and flip investing side, and my husband does the coaching on that side of the business.
Awesome, awesome. I don't know if I missed it, but how long have you been in business, Chauncey?
I've been in business since August of 2016.
Awesome, thank you. Now, finally, Autumn. Miss Autumn, can you introduce yourself for us, please?
Hi, everybody. My name is Autumn Jackson. I'm the owner of the official Clean Queen LLC. We are a residential and commercial janitorial company in the DFW area and also the Mississippi area. We operate in South Mississippi and the New Orleans Metroplex as well. I'm also the owner of Lion Share Transportation and Clean Queen Solar.
Awesome, Autumn. And then I don't think you said it, but how long have you been in business, Autumn?
I've been in business. The Clean Queen has been in business since September 2018.
Okay.
And Lion Share Transportation is new. That's as of last year. And so is Clean Queen Solar.
Awesome. Well, I think it's deserving to give all of you ladies a round of applause because you all are phenomenal and you are wearing many different hats. So just to ease into this conversation, obviously it's for women here, of course. And as women, we wear many different hats, right? So I'd like to know, out of you all on the stage, can you discuss more about who you are outside of being a business owner? Are you a mom? Are you a wife? Like, what else is it that you're doing? Because we're going to get into that in a moment and make it relevant to how you're juggling business as well. Any moms, any wives?
Yes, I'm a mother and a wife.
Okay. I'm a mom.
I'm a fur mom.
Hey.
A fur mom. Too. Listen, those little fur balls require a lot of attention, okay? So
yeah, yes, they
awesome.
do.
That's awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so now I want to just dive into and take our memory back to, let's say, 2019, pre-pandemic. How was business? Like, how was things flowing for your business before the pandemic hit?
My business was flowing very well. Things were going exceptionally well, actually, before the pandemic. But when the pandemic hit, I did realize that I needed to make a shift, and I realized the holes that were in my business. If anything, that's what the pandemic did for me, was show me that this business that I thought I built that was ironclad, and while it was producing a lot of revenue and we were making a lot of money, I mean, I was proud of the business, it definitely had a lot of holes that were in it. And just understanding that I was not pandemic proof. I wasn't necessarily recession proof. Going, into 2020 and into the pandemic definitely showed me that.
Awesome. And so I know some of you, started, like Autumn, your business started in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so oftentimes it takes business owners a few years before their business gets up and moving. So Autumn, can you tell us about how your business was doing before the pandemic?
So when I hit the ground running in 2018, it kind of started to take off. I built it on Thumbtack, and I still worked a part-time job. So I worked a part-time job up until the pandemic. So by 2019, I was barely working my part-time. I was a server at Chili's part-time. I would work maybe like 3 or 4 times a month, and just kind of slowly was able to wing myself off. But things were going really good for me. Word of mouth was really good for my business, but I was tired because I was doing everything myself, like literally marketing, cleaning myself, like getting all of the leads, like you name it, I was doing it. So I was extremely exhausted. And then I found out I was pregnant during the pandemic. So it kind of added on. So yeah, I was good, but I was very tired. So the pandemic was kind of like a blessing for me.
Okay, awesome. So a pandemic baby. Congrats on the
Pandemic baby. Thank
baby.
you.
Awesome. What about you, Courtney? So how was your business? And when I say how was your business, I mean, as business owners, when you first start out, it can be a little bit shaky, right? It can be,
Mhm.
a few customers, or you can be really lucky like Chauncey and, have a big booming business right off of the bat. So I kind of want the audience to know a little bit about how you were prior to the pandemic, and then we're going to jump into what happened once the pandemic hit.
Yeah. So 2019, when just before at the end of 2019, I had been in business for a little bit over 3 years, I guess. And I had finally started picking up. I knew in the beginning when I started, I think it was 2016 or 2017, I think, when I actually registered my business and got all, sales tax and all that jazz, got all that set up, and actually started doing that. I was still working part-time at the job that I had there before I started this, and just was kind of using the time that I had now to kind of start building. And so it did take me a couple of years to really kind of grow. And this is my photography business, by the way. I started off with photography. So building my client base, figuring out marketing and all that stuff. And 2019 was actually the year that I kind of really started hitting all of my goals that I was making for myself, which was really exciting. And I made all of these plans for 2020. Which we all know how that happened, but kind of like you guys were saying earlier, we figured out what was going on with that. So yeah, I know we'll talk about that in a second, but it was definitely, we were, the train was full speed ahead and we were going, and I quit my part-time job and went full steam with photography in December of 2019. Put all my eggs in that basket and just decided to take a leap of faith and did it. So that's kind of where it ended. So
Cool. So it seems like for all of you, it was consistent that in 2019, business was good.
yeah.
Right. That's what it sounds like. Okay. And so let's go into, let's say, March 2020. I believe that's when the pandemic first smacked down in the US. So what happened with business when you first found out about the pandemic? Like that very first month, how did your business change, if at all? And I mean, anybody can pop in and answer the question however you guys see fit.
For me, I felt whenever everything went down, pandemic hit, I still had my regulars, but then somewhere like mid-April, people started to drop off because nobody really knew. And since I have a cleaning business, you would think that everybody wants things extra clean in their home. That was true to a certain extent, but a lot of people didn't want me in their homes. Or, like I had maybe 1 or 2 people working for me at that time. So they didn't want us there. So things kind of went flat for maybe a couple months. And then people like, okay, my house is getting dirty. My kids are being homeschooled. Everybody's on top of each other. Help me, please. And then it was kind of like, okay, we're back. So it started off slow, and then it took a ramp up.
So initially, because your job is to clean and disinfect people's homes and businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, people said, no, you can't come in.
Right.
And they didn't want the cleaning and disinfecting.
I mean, it was just so new. Nobody knew, if I breathe around you, it was just nobody, in this time frame has been through a pandemic. So it was very new to everybody. I did end up adding disinfecting services and fogging services to my business that kind of opened me up to the COVID-19 sector. But yeah, initially people I don't know. Stay away.
Okay. What about you, Chauncey? You look like you have something to say.
Oh no, I'm just laughing because we had a cleaning service, and we were one of those families that our our normally scheduled cleaning service for that exact reason. I was like, I don't want anyone in my house. So I understand where Adam is coming from because I was one of those people.
Yeah.
Um, my business in and of itself, I hear a little bit of a feedback or something. But my business in and of itself, because it's in the financial sector, I guess you could call it, in real estate. When the pandemic hit, interest rates plummeted. So the Feds dropped the interest rates, mortgage interest rates went down, and so then we had kind of the opposite effect. We had more people wanting to buy homes than they did previously because they looked at it as an advantageous position for them to go in and actually acquire properties. So real estate agents saw the opposite. Like we literally got inundated with people that wanted to buy homes, and people that wanted to sell homes got restricted because they didn't want people coming into their homes. So we had this huge influx of buyers. And again, because I was afraid of the pandemic and going, around a lot of people, I was like, this isn't it. I don't want to show a lot of houses. I don't want to be around this many people going out and doing all of this. So I had to kind of figure out, a way around that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit with pivoting the business. But our business, and most people that are in real estate will tell you that when the pandemic hit, it actually turned into a frenzy. But for health and safety purposes, I wasn't really interested in that frenzy at all. So I know that sounds a little bit interesting, but like I was terrified. Imagine, getting lots of clients that, they're wanting you to come out and meet with them and go to strange people's homes when everything that you're seeing on television is everyone in hazmat suits. And so, trying to figure out a way around that is where I really changed up my business.
Awesome. So Chauncey, in a minute, I'm going to want to touch more into, how you were able to deal with the volume that came with, the explosion in the real estate industry, So we're going to hold that thought. And then Courtney, can you briefly just tell us, what was going on with you when the pandemic first happened and how did it impact your business?
Yeah, so the first part of the year for wedding photography, there's not a whole lot going on. We have seasons here in Texas, of course. So January, February is really a big downtime for me. And that's when I do a lot of, back end work on the business. I do a lot of bridal shows. That's when most of the bridal shows happen actually are in January and February. So that's kind of what I was doing in the beginning. And then March came around. I actually had a wedding. I shot a wedding the Saturday before, like, it became like real, like COVID became real, if you will. And it was very interesting seeing how everything happened. And at the time, it was fine for me because I actually still didn't have a wedding for another month or two. So, I was fine. And I just used the extra time, honestly, to work on the business and thought it was like, oh, I have a break, hooray. I don't have to worry about anything right now. But I think it was probably around May, I guess, June, when we got to the point where they're like, nope, we're locking down. We're not doing anything. You can't work. You're not essential. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to figure something else out to do. So I continued working on the business and figuring out marketing and tactics and things like that, and trying to figure out what I was going to do as soon as we were done with all of this. I figured it would be over in a flash, but no, obviously not.
Right.
So I tried to work on different things to make sure that I was ready for when everything got lifted. And that's actually how I found my second business, was actually while I was doing all of that work. So it, little different, I guess, but still kind of everything was up in the air at the time.
Okay, so for Autumn and Courtney, you two both had a little bit of a downtime when the pandemic first started. Your business was a little slower, correct?
Correct.
Now, I know a lot of business owners took advantage of some government loans and grants, the PPP loans. Did either of you, utilize those to kind of help you during those months where things were kind of rocky?
I did. And I turned around and I invested in my business. Equipment. I flew to DC and got trained by the head carpet dyeing expert in the world. He does the White House, you name it. I took advantage of what I could do for my business, carpet cleaning. I added windows, just upholstery, anything you could think of, towel and grout. I just went full steam ahead. I wanted to be like, okay, I got to invest in my education. And then I also, I need to offer more services. I need to be the one-stop shop. So whenever this kind of goes down a little bit, I'll be prepared, because I know 9 times out of 10, when you're on the phone with somebody, if they can save you a Google search or two, you'll go ahead and book with that person. So I definitely did take advantage of that. And I was able to boost my business in it, and it did what it was supposed to do for me.
Yeah. And
I love
we
it.
did
That's awesome.
Yeah, we
You
did
did
as
That
well.
was my next question. You guys used it as well. Awesome.
We didn't do the PPP though. Actually, we did the PPP, but it was a very small amount. But we did a larger amount with the EIDO, the Emergency Disaster Program, and then we did take that and we reinvested that for property acquisitions and things like that. So we did a lot with it. And so that was really, really a saving grace in terms of the pivot that I did with the business.
Same.
Awesome. I'm loving that. So Courtney, I think I saw you shaking your head. No, you didn't take advantage of the loans and the PPP.
I did not. Like I said, I honestly didn't think it was going to last the way it did. And I had a good amount of money saved up in my business. I actually do keep a little bit of a nest egg. And my husband and I, have been saving a lot too for different things. And so we just decided that we were just not going to worry about it and let other people have the money. And just kind of work on what we had and make it work. And we did, which worked out really, really well. So no, I did not take advantage of it.
Awesome. So you had a bit of a nest egg, so you felt secure that you didn't need to. Now, Autumn and Chauncey, what was going through your mind? Why did you feel like, it was a good idea to take advantage of those business loans and grants?
I did it because, obviously we're in the business of acquiring properties. And at that point, they were pretty much giving away money for free. And so if I am able to borrow money at such a low amount and then turn that into an acquisition that can become, an asset that's making money for me, like it's kind of a no-brainer. That's something that now, should I have gotten it and just blown it like a lot of business owners did? Absolutely not. But again, I was able to take money that I'm borrowing for nothing and then turn it into, an income producing asset or something that I can take, acquire, fix up, and then sell, and then turn it into a 6-figure profit.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Same for you.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to piggyback off her. It was a no-brainer for me as well. I did my research and I'm like, I have a legitimate business. I have certifications. I used what I had. It was I don't want to say a once in a lifetime thing, but it's been a while since the government has done something like this. I mean, way back, probably World War II. I'm not sure. But I decided to go ahead and take advantage of it. It was a great decision for me. Because honestly, janitorial machinery is expensive. But with that expensive price tag comes a lot of revenue that you can bring in. And due to the fact of me going in and getting those loans, I was able to turn my business to a 6-figure business. I was already ramping up. But when I added all of my different services in and I really invested into myself, I became a 6-figure business during the pandemic. I actually hit 6 figures last year. For the first time.
Awesome. Well, we got to give you a round of applause for hitting 6
Thank
figures.
you.
That is amazing. But I love all of the perspective. Those of you that took advantage of the loans and reinvested, and then also you, Courtney, you sitting with your nest egg and just waiting to pounce with your new pivoting of your business. So now we kind of already started getting into how you all pivoted with talking about the loans and things like that. So let's try to talk now about what changes did you make in your business once the pandemic happened? So first, I want to start with you, Chauncey. So I know, in the real estate industry, things started exploding. Everybody wanted to buy a house and take advantage of all the low interest rates. So how were you able to manage the volume Did you get new employees? Did you take advantage of some type of technology and things like that? Did you hire virtual assistants? Like, what did you do?
So I got my real estate license in 2016, and then I opened my own real estate brokerage in 2018. Well, then in 2019, so September of 2019, so that's roughly about 6 months before the pandemic hit, I actually closed down my brokerage and joined a national real estate brokerage in the hopes of utilizing an opportunity that this national brokerage had where I could recruit agents and then ultimately make money off of all of their sales, right? But up until the pandemic, I hadn't quite taken advantage of that, right? Like I had a few agents that had joined me, but I didn't really put any money or any time into actually bringing agents on. So then when this huge influx of buyers came into the market and I wanted no parts of being in the production side of things and having to go out and handle 10, 15 clients a month and help them find homes and go into strangers' houses in the middle of a pandemic, I doubled down on the recruiting aspect of it. And so I then started going full force ahead with bringing agents in because I figured I'm one person. And as one person, I can maybe, on a great month by myself alone handle, 8, maybe 10 transactions. But if I can acquire 100 or 200 or 300 realtors, and I can teach all of them to get one sale a month, and now my entire group, I am able to make money off of 300 people, that is way more of an impact than me running out and doing it myself. And so that's how I pivoted is I started selling what systems I had put into place that had made me successful up until that point. I was selling, kind of the processes, the training, the coaching, the mentoring, bringing agents in, helping them sell. And then my revenue stream came from their sales instead of my actual production.
So it sounds like, well, first and foremost, I got to give you a round of applause, Chauncey, because you're a big boss lady. You said you started your own brokerage. I have friends in the real estate industry, so I know that is a major, major deal. So oftentimes as female entrepreneurs, we don't really pat ourselves on the back, especially as overachievers. We usually go from one thing to the next. So right now, Chauncey, pat yourself on the back. You did that. You did that, and I am proud of you. So with that being said, it sounds like not only did you utilize hiring different agents and being able to use them as being on the ground, so to speak, but you also said you came up with some systems and then you started selling the systems. So it sounds like you created some digital products as well.
Yes. So I created a brand, My Real Estate Rebel. And so My Real Estate Rebel, I've always done real estate differently than everyone else. Like I'm not that realtor that's going to show up in a power suit. I don't wear pearls. I will show up in some sneakers and a hoodie, but I know what I'm doing. I'm a great negotiator. I'm able to relate with my clients really well. So I've always done real estate a lot differently. My lead generation mechanisms always came from social media and YouTube instead of the traditional real estate, ways that people are doing it. And so I said, you know what? I've rebelled against the system. I need to teach other people how to do this. So I came up with My Real Estate Rebel to appeal to other agents that did not want to do it in a traditional way, to teach them how to build their business in their own way, using their specific identity and special things about them. And so, I created some digital products and some courses that, would teach them how to do it. So everything from how to set your business up in 2 hours to how to start your YouTube channel to, getting comfortable and using video and video marketing in your business, to actually literally handing people the entire system that you should use from, the moment that you get a client all the way through the closing table. And then even after, throwing housewarming parties and things like that for your clients to get more clients.
Awesome. Now, nice. I know a lot of times, technology and social media can be very difficult for us to learn very, early on, right? When you first find out about it. So were you always involved with social media and technology with your business, or was it something that you had to kind of pay attention to during the pandemic and teach yourself and you got good at it?
I was always involved with it, but more on just like an organic way. Like I just would post and people like me and I would post funny things, but I didn't really understand really systematically how to use it. And I would say that previously I used it as a tool without any strategy behind it. And then once the pandemic hit, I understood that if I put a really good strategy behind this tool, it could be a moneymaker in and of itself for me. So I did double down and like really learned and understood how, the ad side of it worked and how all of the algorithms worked on the different platforms. And like, I started to understand a lot more about that side.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So business owners, you hear that out there. Not only are you able to maybe hire people to assist you in doing the things that you just don't have the time to do, but you can also use technology to create systems and also create digital products, right? You can create something one time and then constantly have passive income. So that is a big nugget that I want you all to make sure that you have in your arsenal of tools as a business owner and how to grow your business. Thanks a lot, Chauncey. So now, Courtney, I wanna tap in with you and talk about, at first you were doing photography, but during the pandemic, we weren't even allowed to come outside. Now, Texas is very different than the rest of the world. We were not on lockdown as long as everyone else, but we were still on lockdown. So tell me, how did you go from, being in the photography business? I know you had your nest eggs and your husband and you felt taken care of, but how did you go from not being able to do photography to now being where you are now, where you're very successful, you have a lot of clientele, and you kind of did some changes with your business? So can you tell us about that process?
Yeah, it was a very interesting process. It didn't go the way I ever thought it would. Like I was saying, kind of as the summer got here and I was starting to realize that this was probably going to go on longer than we all hoped it would. And I was really looking for different things to do with my photography business, and how I could pivot in some way to make money somehow. I actually did try to take advantage of the real estate market, and try and do some real estate photography, but it really wasn't for me. Not everyone can do every kind of photography. Weddings are my thing. I love weddings, and I tried real estate, didn't really get into it very much. I tried a couple of different other things with photography, tried to do stock photos and things like that. But again, it just wasn't really making me happy. And I learned a long time ago that if I wasn't happy, I just wasn't going to do it. So I had to keep looking. And I honestly just kind of happened upon something totally different while I was looking at other photography things. I think it was like a Pinterest ad or something. I was on Pinterest searching like photography marketing, and a flower preservation ad popped up on my Instagram. It was like, oh, this is a sign right there, right? And I just kind of looked at it and I was like, oh, you can't say flowers. That's not real. You can't say flowers, right? So I kind of looked into it and I was like, oh, maybe you can't say flowers. And I kind of kept, just on the back end, started doing different things, but then going back to photography, like, oh no, I'm getting off track. The Pinterest, like, the whole social media wormhole that you just gotta go down. And I was like, no, put that away. I got to get back on track, figure out how I'm going to make this photography thing work. And it just kept coming back, and I kept getting ads because, of course, once you click on one, here they all come. So kept getting more, and it was something that intrigued me so much that I was like, oh, well, you know what? Let me take a break. I just want to look into it. I'm just going to play around. So got on YouTube, got on, Instagram. Apparently there's lots of fun videos that you can watch, and just became completely enthralled. And it was at that moment that I realized, oh, maybe I'm going at this the wrong way. I obviously am not finding what I want to pivot in the photography world. Maybe I need to try something completely different. So I just kept following a bunch of other resin artists on Instagram and watching their reels and see how they do things, and going through YouTube and everything, and kind of decided to play around with it, I guess, on my own, and really enjoyed the art of it, I guess. And it's something a little bit different. I mean, photography is art in one fashion, but this was something completely different, and it really excited me. So I was like, I think I'm going to try this instead. And it literally just exploded beyond anything I could have ever imagined. So that was it. I did not think I would find something outside of photography. That's what I've always wanted to do. Ever since I was little, always had a camera in my hand, went to school for photography. That was my dream. That was what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So this was something that I never saw on my radar, but I don't regret anything about it. I still do photograph weddings. That is still something that I do, my main probably source of income. But this flower preservation business has taken off so much that it is now moving into being my full-time and my main source of income actually at this point. So,
Awesome, Courtney. No worries. You're free to talk as long as you want to.
And I was like, Alfred was talking about how he's a talker. I am too.
Yeah, no worries. But awesome. I want to give you a big round of applause as well, because you are also a boss lady. The fact that you were able to not only, sit back and be comfortable during a pandemic, right? And at the same time, you found a new way, a new invention, so to speak, to incorporate in your business, right? I think that's awesome because you even tried different areas of photography, even though you end up not liking it. The fact that you tried to get into different areas and see, hey, will this work for me? That's awesome, because a lot of people don't even try. So I respect you in that aspect. Now, Courtney, I'm curious. So it's one thing if you would have expanded on the photography business, but you kind of created a completely different business, so to speak. So how were you able to one, get the customers for that arena, considering it was brand new?
Well, the fact that I was already in the wedding industry helped a lot. As a wedding photographer, I have lots of vendor friends, planners, wedding venues, florists. Having those connections already, the network that I've built over the last couple of years in the wedding industry was really helpful. And when I kind of started like looking into this, I'd go to my networking luncheons and I'd be like, hey, I was kind of looking at this thing. What do you guys think about it? And they're like, oh, I've never heard of that before. Like you should keep looking into that. And so when I started telling them that I was like, hey, I think I'm actually going to do this. They're like, oh my gosh, give me your info. I'm just going to, give it to everyone. And every florist I talk to, they're like, I have people ask me all the time, how do I save my flowers? And there's only a handful of us in the DFW area. So it was really easy to be put on a list, so to speak, of who's available. And since there's, over 2 million weddings happening this year and only a couple of us, actually throughout the whole country, it wasn't really super hard to get them. And I mean, I had figured out SEO and everything for my website. So I made sure I had real good keywords and things on my website so that I am on page 1 of Google. When you type in floral preservation, Dallas area, I pop up. So that was really kind of how it started, was with the vendors. And then once I got my website up, it kind of grew from there through Google.
Okay, so you did a little bit of networking. You reached out to your resources, told them a little bit about the new business, and that put you on. And then you utilize marketing and technology as well. Awesome, awesome. I love that. So you see a reoccurring theme, business owners. It is, one, the connections, because Chauncey also had to have connections with the brokerage to be able to know which agents to hire and all this. And then it's also the marketing and using technology. We're in 2022 now, so you have to be able to use technology nowadays if you really want to scale your business. So I think that's awesome, Courtney. Now, of course, Miss Autumn, let's jump over to you and talk about the cleaning business. So we already know you spent a lot of money investing in yourself and investing in equipment and things like that, so you could be ready. So when people were finally ready for you to come in their house and they weren't scared of COVID anymore, what happened? How'd your business pivot?
First, to kind of back up, I had found out I was pregnant February 2020. So I was completely scared. And as a woman who ran my business by herself with like 1 or 2 assistants, and I was cleaning full time, I was like very afraid. And I built the business on my back like we all do. And that was my first child. Okay. So I had control issues. So I had to start with my mindset first. I had to release control to other people. I had to trust other people with my brand. And that is the biggest thing that I think that I did one of the biggest things I did during the pandemic to pivot. I had to trust that this person is going to believe in my brand enough to go do a wonderful job to service my clients and to keep my name going, because we have 5-star reviews on every platform. And I'm like, this is not ending today. So if you come on board with me, there's no excellence is required, right? So yes, I did that, and I invested into myself. I took classes. I applied for my DBE certifications and those type of things. But my biggest thing was I cashed in on my networking. So I have a small circle of other cleaning business owners that I talk to. And the biggest thing that I tell people is to find your tribe, because I was able to use that and help grow my services. So we get together, we map out things. We map out where we want to go, where we see a need. Do you need a cleaner today? Do I need a cleaner today? Those type of things. What do you offer? So like for me, I have a lot of services, right? So I have carpet and different things like that. I'm able to plug that into another cleaning business owner, and they can do the same thing for me. So I cross-pollinated with other businesses to make sure that we did not go without a service. So that was a big thing for me. And I also opened myself up to being a subcontractor, which is huge, because you have a lot of big businesses, bigger than mine, on a national level, who find me through Google and different things like that. And they were like, hey, you do great work. Do you want to subcontract for us? And that was very big for me. So a lot of people think, well, you don't want to take your name off of it. I do not care, because the clean queen is the clean queen. And, we're going to go do great work, and we're going to subcontract. The money spends the same. And it's a huge network for that. So, yeah, definitely the networking is probably one of my biggest pivots, is adding on to my business.
Okay, so I'm seeing a reoccurring theme here. It's the networking. It's who you know, and that's how you guys were able to pivot your business in such a wonderful way. So that's awesome, Autumn. And then you mentioned that you had a daughter. So, I'm a mom as well, and I know for me, I didn't want to bring my daughter out of the house, right? So I was trying to figure out, well, how can I do a meeting with somebody without having to go? Is she going to be good in the background? Like, is she going to make noise? Is she going to keep bursting in my room or my office? So, you were probably pregnant most of 2020, right?
Yes.
So then when you had your baby in 2021, were you having to do meetings and things like that? And, did you utilize Zoom to hold your meetings, or were you comfortable going in person? Like, how did you do that? Did you hire a nanny? Like, how did you balance the motherhood? And then any of you ladies can jump in and add your 2 cents if you like.
Yeah, for me, so I have a son. His name is Asad. And, that's my biggest blessing, that fire that comes with motherhood. It really just, like, we got to do something. So that with the pandemic really gave me a huge boost. But so I found out I was pregnant in February. I was actually pregnant a little bit before then, and I had him in October. So I was still doing some cleaning in the beginning, but then that power, I had to release it, and I didn't touch anything, after that. And since then, the pandemic forced me to let go, and I have never been in the same position again. Had I not grown and hired more people during the pandemic and actually stopped working to run the business, I probably would have still been in the same position. So, since I have not really had to clean anything since the pandemic, since I was pregnant. So I kind of stayed on an extended maternity leave, if you will. So that's what happened with me. My tribe, my family, they have been really huge for me. And so, no nannies right now. But what I kept drilling to myself is that everything that I'm doing it so that I can raise him full time. So, yeah, that's how it went for me. And I actually fly back and forth right now. He's primarily with my parents because I am very busy. I still run a business, but I am on a plane every month. I'm gone at least 2 to 3 weeks out of the month right now. So that is kind of how I've been doing it due to the pandemic. I am still afraid of having him in daycares and stuff like that. So, I have him in the country, with his grandparents, and I'm still having issues kind of like letting him out, so to speak.
Okay, that's definitely understandable. Miss Chauncey, I know you have children as well. So, how were you with doing meetings and stuff like that? Because I know as a business owner, even if we're hiring other people to go out and do things for us, if you're the boss, you're still the person that has to, network or do meetings with other people to seal the deal on some things. So, how were you able to host meetings and things like that? Did you do Zoom or were you going out to meetings as well?
No, I definitely, everything that I did transition to online. So Zoom, StreamYard. So the service that we're using now, I started doing a lot of events and training classes and things to promote my digital products. Like everything was digital and online. But something that Autumn said that really kind of like raised my antenna is she said that, in the beginning, she had to do a lot of mindset work. And I would say for anyone that's listening to this, that, is a business owner and, with Empower DFW, they really are talking to those people that have had some sort of full-time career and are transitioning into being an entrepreneur. My mindset shift was I had to understand that I couldn't just be the business. I had to actually build a business.
Absolutely.
And I think what a lot of, people are self-employed, but they're not actually entrepreneurs. And that's two different things. And I think that a lot of us get caught up in building this jail cell around ourselves, and we are the freaking business. Like we don't have duplicatable processes and systems. And so for me, I had to do that mindset work and say, Chauncey, if what you're doing is not some sort of duplicatable process or system that you can hand to someone else and they can pick it up where you left off and start a business, then you don't have a business. You're just working for yourself. And I didn't want that. And so I would say for those of you that are listening, in kind of, really trying to get your groove with your business, I would challenge you to look at yourself and understand, are you your actual business, or are you actually building something and working on your business instead of in it on a daily? And that's when things really change for me.
Yeah.
Awesome sauce. You got some thoughts, Courtney? By the way, let us know your fur baby's name. What's your fur baby's name? What type of animal is it?
I have 3 fur babies. I have a small Chihuahua Terrier mutt he'll be 13 in a few months. His name is Tucker. And then we have 2 tabby cats. One is named Theoden and one is named Thorin. So they definitely all keep me on my toes every day. Not like real children, but they still do keep me on my toes. So yeah.
Awesome. So I'm assuming you started handling business and doing meetings via, Zoom as well, right? To avoid going out into the pandemic.
When it first started, yeah, I did have to. I had never used Zoom before. I'm a terrible millennial. I do not like technology, and so Zoom was a whole new thing for me. But I did start doing Zoom. As soon as I could get back out, though, I did, and I went out and I networked, because that was about the time when I was realizing I wanted to look into the second business. And so I wanted to go out to the people and talk to everyone. And I really do think that's kind of one of the things that helped a lot, was talking to people in person and really getting their ideas and things like that. So I didn't stay behind for too long. I went out there, but it was definitely, there was caution, of course, as we all were very cautionary, but I do remember doing the Zooms and everything with all my clients that I had originally, like my photography clients and stuff, because obviously we couldn't go out and, couldn't do, because I do all of my consults and all of my reveals here in my office. We had to do them all over Zoom. So yeah, we did use that a lot. I didn't have to worry about the whole kid thing, though. Just the occasional meowing of "I'm hungry, feed me." So
I was gonna say, I had to. As an attorney, they switched the court system to be via Zoom. So I've seen some attorneys with the dogs in the background and the cats, creeping and walking back. So yeah, the fur babies definitely are a challenge as well. You kind of got to lock them in another room or something like that.
Yeah.
So hats off to all of you ladies for your children and your fur babies, holding it down as women and entrepreneurs. Right now, I want to take a 5-minute break just in case you all want to grab some water, use the bathroom or whatever. And then when we come back, I want to really dive into social media and, because that kind of exploded during the pandemic. Everybody jumped on social media and TikToks. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about how you utilize that, if at all, to pivot your business. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we'll be back in 5. All right, beautiful ladies. We are back. I hope you all are feeling refreshed. We have about 30 more minutes of our event today. So, as I stated, now I want to talk about kind of social media. I know from my perspective, when the pandemic started, I saw a lot of new innovations with social media. I saw TikTok come about and start booming. I also saw the online app. What is it called? Let me look at it. Clubhouse. I saw Clubhouse start booming. I saw all these different social media apps come about. And I want to know from you all's perspective, how did you feel about these new social media apps and these TikToks and things like that? One, how did you feel about it? And two, did you incorporate it in pivoting your business at all?
Okay.
Don't be shy.
I go first. For me, I'm old school. I probably should like do a little bit more. I just posted my first TikTok like last week. Okay. I mean, I'm like behind, but I was pregnant last year, so I did watch the TikToks, but it just seemed like I just really didn't feel like getting into it. But a great deal of my business does come from Facebook. A lot of my leads come from Facebook. I get my word of mouth on Facebook is really large. So, I still post it. I stay consistent, with what I was already doing and stay consistent with my work. And that's pretty much all I did. I did attend a couple clubhouse meetings. I thought Clubhouse was pretty cool when it first started, but I didn't personally utilize the newbies on the block.
Okay, so Autumn, what about, what made you go and do your first TikTok? Because you're old school and you weren't comfortable with it at first, but
Yeah.
now, pretty much 2 years later, after the pandemic started, you went ahead and made a TikTok. Why?
I'm also kind of like hard headed when everybody goes and does one thing. I don't say I do the opposite, but I'm just kind of like, I'm away. I do it with movies, I do it with anything. And it's kind of like when people flock to it, I just kind of like, when I'm ready. So I finally was like, you know what? I went and downloaded it, I played around. I was like, it's really not that bad. So I just decided to do it. And I actually have way more time on my hands than I ever have, like in my business physically. So, you know, I'm at home most of the time running the business. I was like, you know what? Let me play around with TikTok a little bit. And I just made a cute little video. And I was like, it's cute. It kind of weighed on me. It made me laugh. It's got a lot of personality on there. And I was just kind of like, the cooking recipe lured me in. And I was like, you know what? I like it. I'm going to go see.
Okay, so it weighed on you. So I'll share a little bit. So for me, I'm old school as well. I'm young, but I was always against technology. I always wrote all of my exams. I would not use a computer. No, I don't want people on social media knowing all of my business. So I was very similar, Autumn. But then when the TikToks and stuff started coming out, that inner child in me wanted to play, and for a while, and then I started seeing them be very creative, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Nobody wants a boring attorney in a suit sitting there. Kind of
Right.
like Chauncey said, she doesn't want to show up at a showing with her pearls and her suit. She wants to feel relatable, so she's comfortable with her sneakers and stuff. And so that's why I started, testing it out, so to speak. And once I started doing the TikToks and the reels and everything like that, it took my business to another level. And learned is it was a way of relaying or educating my audience in a funny and nice and happy way. So it wasn't so serious like you're sitting in a college lecture room, right? So that's what I
Right.
learned. But Chauncey, I know you're really big on YouTube. So I want to chat with you about how you started using maybe the TikToks and Reels and or how'd you get into YouTube?
I've always used social media as a tool with my businesses from day one of becoming a real estate agent. Because in my business, you're taught from the very beginning the way that you get leads is you go and door knock or you cold call random people and ask them if they want to sell a house. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Like that's silly. Why would I go and walk a neighborhood when I could make a Facebook post or an Instagram post or a YouTube video that could potentially reach tens of thousands of people instead of door knocking 25 homes in a neighborhood and getting all sweaty and stinking and I haven't accomplished anything. So for me, reach was a big thing from the very beginning. So then when the pandemic hit and we started seeing things like Clubhouse and TikTok, I love social media as a tool. Like that is my outlet to be creative. And it's also, for me, the smart way to market yourself, because you have the potential to get so many eyes on your stuff instead of just word of mouth. And so what I did understand though is that all platforms aren't for all people. And so I dove into them and tinkered with them to decide which ones I really enjoyed versus the ones that I didn't. And so, I haven't really been a whole lot onto TikTok. I'm just now getting into Reels. And I kind of stayed tried and true with YouTube, with just straight Instagram, my stories, and with Facebook. But I mean, I love those tools, and they are great to blow your business up. And so I actually got into YouTube, which is what has brought me 95% of the agents that are underneath me. And when I was producing, brought me about 90% of my business. I got into YouTube, actually, kind of funny story. Like a lot of women, I would sit at home at night in bed and I would watch makeup tutorial videos. And I was following these girls that were like 18, 19 years old, and they had millions of followers. They had all of these sponsorships. And I said, these girls like literally know nothing about life. So if they have all of this opportunity from a YouTube channel, surely I can be myself and be entertaining enough to deliver content to the masses in an entertaining way, and I can potentially get clients the same way. That's how I started my YouTube channel. And even before I had thousands of followers, it was highly effective in getting clients. I remember only having 300-400 followers, but I was getting clients once a week or so, that had large budgets, that were all sold on me because they felt like they knew me from my personality of seeing me on YouTube and social media. So where other realtors had to sell people on their clients, I understood the power of social media and video, which sold people before they even got to me. And when they got to me, it was just helped me achieve the goal that I'm looking for. And so that's how I got into YouTube. And so I love all of the tools, and really you just have to put a strategy behind it, but all of them work very well.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. I love that. I love that, Chauncey. And so with the YouTube, were you noticing that it was people more so in your state, or was YouTube allowing you to get clients all over the US?
All over, all
All over
over.
the US?
The vast majority of
Awesome.
clients that I got actually were people from out of state looking to relocate to Dallas Fort Worth. And they found me on YouTube. And because they weren't here to actually like meet with someone face to face, or, get a local recommendation, YouTube was that was their recommendation. So they would go type, a problem or a question that they would have into YouTube, which is the second largest search engine out there. My videos would pop up. They would go down a rabbit hole, watch a couple of videos. They liked my personality, and boom, they're sending me an email saying, "Hey, I'm a pre-approved buyer for $500,000. I need to buy a house ASAP. Is there any way you can help me? We love your videos and I love your personality." And it was happening time after time after time. And now that I'm not in production and selling houses, the same thing happens with agents that are looking to get into the business. They go onto YouTube, what to do as a brand new real estate agent, or whatever the case may be. They find my videos, go down the rabbit hole, boom, they reach out, they join me. I'm coaching, training, and mentoring them, and that's a new revenue stream.
Awesome. So my last question for you is, because I know a lot of business owners also want to add that extra layer on for their business and incorporate YouTube so they can teach people what they already know and what they're doing. So when you started your YouTube, was your goal to like take on a certain character, or were you just flat out, I'm going to be myself and this is what I do? How did you go about that?
Yeah. So again, with using these tools, you need to have a strategy behind it. So I did a lot of research, but then honestly, I used my common sense. I said, what do you go to YouTube for, Chauncey? And typically I'm going there for anything from how do I change my car battery to how do I, contour my face with makeup. So I know that people are going there asking questions. So then very simply put, I wrote down my target client, who they are, and some questions that they would typically Google and ask. And that's what I made videos about. I, wrote out a list of what their frustrations are and problems. And that became topics of videos for me. And so that's how I was able to curate content. I didn't put on a character. I was me. I was enough because I wanted them to know who I was and actually choose me to work with. And if I was pretending to be a character, that's not me and that's not what they're buying into. And so I had to be myself. I just had to be, the solution to their problems.
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose Candace?
Okay, I hear a little jingle. I'm really enjoying this though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all are so inspiring. Y'all
Are
are
you
like,
ladies on YouTube?
huh?
Oh, there it is. It looked like I got kicked out for a minute. I'm sorry, lady. So that's awesome, Chauncey. So we got a YouTube guru. Yes, I'm going to call you the guru. We got the Facebook guru. Yes, I'm going to call you the guru. Now, Courtney, like, how are you involved with social media? I mean, you seem like you have a very vibrant and fun personality. Did you get involved at all with social media for your business?
I did. I'm also very old school, and I too like to sit and wait and watch other people do it first, and then I'll figure out when I want to get into it. I'm actually still in that phase. I said earlier I'm a terrible millennial. I don't like technology, and social media is kind of right there on the cusp. But I know that it's important, especially for the flower business. That's how I even learned about it myself, was seeing it on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and things like that. So I do have a little bit of a presence in there, but honestly, the funny part about my business and doing the floral preservation is people don't actually want to see me. I did a poll. They don't want to see me. They want to see me like do the work. So I do a lot more behind the scenes of like me actually like designing, pouring the resin, because it's still something that's very new that a lot of people don't even know about. So social media for me has been more of an education on the process and the art itself rather than getting clients. My client base does not come from social media. It comes from, like I said, the networking, florists, wedding planners, the wedding industry itself, and then also my website and being on the first page of Google. So social media, mostly I am on Instagram doing like reels and just stories like behind the scenes and stuff like that. I'm not super great at reels. If anyone ever has seen my reels, they're kind of funny. But that's another thing. I don't remember which one of you was saying it, but like having that personality, even if it's not anything that's like relevant, sometimes just having something fun for people to see. Along with the education, obviously, that I offer too. But it's interesting that I've realized starting with social media for this business, how much education is more prevalent for people. And now it's actually kind of helping me pivot to a third business that I'm going to start working on with it. So I'm going to have to get more into it. But yeah, I'd say Instagram is probably more what I do than the others.
Okay, awesome. So I saw, that for each business sector, you all utilize different methods of being on social media. So, Courtney, you were kind of showing behind the scenes how I'm making this, and that's what was getting your audience more engaged with you and getting you more sales. And then Chauncey, you were kind of more so educating people on YouTube, and being present, right? On the real estate industry. Okay. And that's kind of similar to my industry. As an attorney, I have to educate people for them to feel like they trust me and they want to do business with me. And then for you, Autumn, you were more so utilizing ads and just making sure people knew you exist and what that you did, right?
Right. I actually don't run too many ads. I've grown my business a lot, but I really am just getting to it. But yeah, just posting my reviews and organically getting those shares and likes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just grows and grows. And people, I wanted people to know cleaning and associated with my name and with me and my personality and what I do. And anytime my followers seen somebody needed something clean, they'll tag me. They still do that, and I love them. So that's how I've been able to grow my business so far. It's literally the people who support me on social media, on Facebook.
I love it. And so one thing I want to ask for the audience is, seeing that, you ladies went through the pandemic, your business was able to pivot and be even more successful what is one of the most important things you learned throughout that process about being a business owner?
Uh, Making the leap, just do it. Don't be afraid. I mean, yeah, it's scary. It is scary. I think we all agree that we were all pretty scared at one point. But the reward afterwards, like, far surpasses any kind of fear that you could ever have to begin with. I mean, I know nothing about flowers. I can't even grow flowers outside. Like, everything I have outside is dead. I just can't. But now here I am using that, that my brown thumb power to kill flowers for a living now, right? So definitely don't be afraid. Just do it and get out there. And speaking as an introvert, I'm a huge introvert. Yes, you can do it. Just get out there and start talking to people. You can do it.
Chauncey, what about you?
I would say that the pandemic taught me more than anything, again, to if I want to really be an entrepreneur and call myself an entrepreneur, that I have to build out processes and systems and not be my business myself. That was probably the biggest takeaway that I got from this entire ordeal. And so now moving forward, every step that I do in my business, I make sure that it is a duplicatable process. I no longer can be the business. I can be the face of the business. I can be the brains behind the business. But I myself, if I can't duplicate it, then it's not a business to me. And so for me, that's what I learned the most.
Awesome. I love that. Autumn, what about you? What was the biggest
I
thing?
feel like it's so many lessons that were like handed out. Piggybacking, piggybacking off of Courtney, just do it. Like, go out there and do what you need to do. For me, it's like literally trusting your plans and trusting the process, and letting go, outsourcing. You can't be everything to everybody and everything to your business. You literally have to let it go. And then just at the end of the day, know that it's going to be hard work either way, because it's a quote that says, becoming rich is hard, and being broke is hard as well. You have to choose your hard. So, at the end of the day, whatever it takes by any means necessary. So yeah, I would definitely say going forward and trusting the process are two of the biggest things that I learned.
Awesome, awesome. And so the last thing I want to ask you all is, for the business owners that are watching now and that are going to watch this in the future on the replay, if you had to give them, two pieces of essential advice in starting their business, what would that be? Like, if you could go back mentally to when you first started your business, some of the mistakes you made, what would you tell new business owners? And you can take a few seconds to think about it. I know that you really want to give something really valuable. But yeah, so two things that you would tell a brand new business owner that is sitting in front of you saying, hey, I'm thinking about starting this business. What are two of the most important things that you would say to that business owner that either you would want them to avoid doing because you made the mistake, or either something that maybe you did do correctly that really helped your business?
I'll go first. I would say you don't have to have it all the way together. And I'm a person that used to like to have all my ducks in a row, like planning it out. But like for me, my origin story was I literally had a job. I was in insurance. They recanted my job offer the same day that I walked off my first job. So I birthed my cleaning business. So, you're not going to have it all the way together. Sometimes you just got to go into action. So, start with some small steps. Just go ahead and start. That's the biggest thing, is to start. And then my other thing is, it just left me, but we'll stick with that. It's just to start. Oh, also, I know what it was. Finding your tribe. It's not all about competition. Literally find people within your network that do the same thing that you do. Uplift each other, and you will get so many gems. You'll teach each other. You'll grow to bigger heights. Just, it's so, in Dallas, it's millions of people.
Yes.
You are not my competition. Like, I literally would tell anybody what I know, because at the end of the day, you have the sauce. It's you. Like, I can give you everything that I've done. It might not work that way for you. So have that spirit of community instead of competition.
I love that. And one of the things I often tell business owners when I'm, being interviewed or sitting on a panel is, for me, one of the biggest things for me in being successful as an entrepreneur was having male mentors. And I want to know, Autumn, you said you talked about the community. Did you at all have any male mentors? And I'll tell you why I said the male mentors. It's just because as female entrepreneurs, a lot of time we can be a little nervous about how to price our stuff, and we can be a little bit taken advantage of. Sometimes
Yep.
when you have male clients, they might want to flirt, and you kind of don't really know how to navigate that. But from my experience, having male mentors taught me how to be very assertive, taught me how to be the big boss, right? And let people know, hey, no, you can only call me Candace, not Candy, right? And things like that. So what's your perspective on the mentors, having mentors a part of your community as well?
So I definitely did utilize two female Black owned cleaning business owners for myself. But one of my male mentor, who he's a colleague, we're coming up together, but he mentors me. He's my right hand on so many different things. Tracy Watts, the Clean Done. He is a numbers guy, and he helped me to be more assertive in, like, pricing, and like, this is what you need to do. A lot of times we talk through a lot of things, right? So I definitely will say having a male mentor, or having that male um counterpart, sometimes it can aid you in depending on what you're doing. So up until last year, it was always females and stuff like that, and to find another male in the cleaning industry, and what I didn't have he had, and what he didn't have I had. So within my tribe, that's how we were able to build each other up and do partnerships.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Autumn, for that input. Chauncey, Courtney, what's your two things that you would tell a new business owner?
Kind of piggybacking off a little bit of what Autumn said, or what you guys were just talking about being assertive and everything. Don't underestimate yourself, even if it's something totally new that you've never done before, thought you would do before, or maybe there's really not anyone else that you can have for a tribe. Still make sure that you're watching out for yourself and taking care of yourself and not selling yourself short. You can charge what you need to charge to make a profitable business. You don't have to start out cheap to get clients. Make sure you're pricing yourself right, that you're doing your cost of doing business, your cost of goods sold, all that stuff, all the numbers, talking about the numbers, man, right? Make sure you have all of that in place, because if you don't start with that, confidence and that foundation, your business is not going to go very far. And if it does, I can almost guarantee you are going to be so over it within a very short amount of time that you're going to want to quit. It's very easy to get burnout in as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur. But if you start confident, start with all the foundations and making sure that you have all of your numbers right and everything set up, and going out and selling yourself for who you are and what you can do to serve people, then you're just gonna go for it. It'll be great.
Awesome, Courtney. I love that. And so from your perspective, did you utilize mentors when you first started out like Autumn did?
I didn't. When I very first started my photography business, I only tried to do everything myself. I didn't think it was necessary to spend money on education, to spend money on mentors. It wasn't until about 2018, I believe it was, that I actually started hiring mentors, and I use different ones too. I don't even use the same one over and over again. I've had a couple of different ones, and I actually think that's really helpful too, is maybe not just having one person, but having multiple people, because everyone has a different perspective too. Even in the same kind of business, you can get different perspectives. And I've taken bits and pieces of each one, plus what I personally want to do to serve my clients, and built the business that I have now, which then translated into my second business. And I use kind of the same foundations that I used in photography to build this one. And again, why I believe it helped, build this business up so fast, is because I had all of that in place beforehand, before I even launched.
Well, I love that. So you said have multiple mentors. I agree with that. I also have multiple mentors
Cool.
because you never know. One mentor might be busy or sick or
Yeah.
whatever, and you need someone
Yeah.
else to chat with about, what to do. So I love that, Courtney. So not just have one mentor, but have multiple. All right. Finally, Chauncey, what's your two words of wisdom that you would give a new business owner sitting in front of you?
I would say the first one is do it your way. I think that because most people that are getting into becoming an entrepreneur or being self-employed, they're coming from corporate America. And in corporate America, you're never asked to do something that you haven't been trained to do. And so a lot of people get into this and they're looking up videos frantically and they want to ask everyone in the business questions. And they find themselves in this loop of trying to emulate other people instead of actually finding what their strengths are and capitalizing on those when building out their business. So do it your way. If you're, in I was the real estate business and you don't wear power suits and pearls, then don't do it. Wear your hoodie. Find your tribe, find the clients that are going to be attracted to you and do that. If you don't like social media, don't use it. Just because everyone else says that you need to, then find that other outlet that may work for you. Instead of looking at what other people have done and how other people have built their business, build it on your strengths instead of theirs.
Yeah.
So do it your way would be the first thing. And then the second thing that I would say, if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would have looked at what my business looks like now, which is how I envisioned it back then, but I would have built it that way. So I would say build it to scale from the beginning.
Yeah.
Envision your business 5, 10 years down the road of exactly how you want it to look. And of course, that's not how it's going to look in the beginning. But if you know what you're working toward, then each step of the way and the things that you're doing, then you know how to build it so that at each benchmark that you create for yourself, then you're building it out to scale. So that is one thing that I definitely would have changed instead of just throwing myself into it and taking on lots of clients and building this big business just with myself. I would have built it out so that when the time came, I was steadily leveling myself up and scaling it and pulling myself out of it gradually instead of just all at one time.
Great
I
advice.
love that, Chauncey. And that's another thing that we talk a lot about in my industry is doing it your way, right? Us attorneys, most people are showing up in the black suit or the gray suit, right? Whatever. And I show up in my yellow pumps, okay, and my purple briefcase because this is what I want to wear, right? And people looking at me like, are you a Barbie doll or an attorney? I'm both, okay? So anyways,
Right.
love that, especially for the female entrepreneurs out there. And then also you said another important thing, manifest, have visionary, tunnel vision with your business. So that is awesome. So beautiful ladies, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining me tonight. I know you all have very busy schedules, but I appreciate you. I know that Empower DFW appreciates you. All of the business owners out there that are going to watch this are going to be so inspired, right? Because you all have shown how you can take, different types of businesses and pivot it and make it what it is now. Very, very successful. So salute to all of you ladies. And I will definitely be reaching out. I need some flowers. Home and I need my place clean. So much love to all of you and let's stay connected. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. This is great.
Yeah, I'm inspired. I had a great time. Like this is the push I needed because sometimes when you're an entrepreneur and you're operating so high, sometimes you have your hills and valleys, and it's very nice to hear the words and the advice that you ladies gave today. Because I mean, I'm pumped and ready to go now.
Ditto.
Let's get it. So 2022 and beyond will be even better. We speak that into existence. All right, ladies. So Empower DFW brought this beautiful segment today on how to pivot your business to be prosperous and successful, even when there's a major pandemic. So we love and appreciate all of you out there watching, and we're going to call it a night tonight, and you'll see us next time.
All right. Bye, guys.